Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, Garlan Gudger elected President Pro Tem of the Senate. Also, there's a battle over birthright citizenship. And LGBTQ hate comes to the Prattville Christmas parade.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Oh yeah, they're wicked. And not Ariana Grande wicked. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by Susan Britt, research guru extraordinaire, and Josh Moon, columnist and investigative reporter at APR. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Big changes, coming to the state Senate. Senator Garlan Gudger was elected to be President Pro Tem this past week, and he is promising a more inclusive and a more unified effort within the body. You know, Mr. Gudger has 12 years experience on the city council and leading the council in Coleman. He also has his second term in the Senate. This may be the leadership change that's needed to help Alabama move forward, Susan.
It may be. You know, he's known for doing compromise to be able to get bills moved forward, inclusivity with everyone. Interestingly, they did a secret ballot, and you know, one of the caucus members said they didn't know if it was a close vote or a landslide. They're not, you know, they're not sure of that.
Right.
But nevertheless, Gudger did one, and it looks like we're going to have some progress in the Senate this time.
Well, I mean, that's all, you know, he has said that, Josh, and then we hope him all the best. We want every speaker and lawmaker down there to be successful when they're doing good for the state. But he does have a track record, and so we will see how the constituencies react to him when he actually takes charge. I know you've talked to people.
Yeah, no. Listen, you know, using words like compromise and inclusivity, he's certain to fail and be hated by everyone. You know, it's. I wish him well. I hope that it goes exactly as y'all have said, and it's the progress that we need, and that we are pushing forward, and that he kind of holds to doing good things for the state, and takes a more business-minded approach and moves away from some of the culture war BS that you know, tends to flood his way and will flood his way. And I hope he's able to resist a lot of that stuff and keep making Alabama a business-friendly state and a people-friendly state during his tenure there. I have my doubts. I've seen other you know, Republican leaders of both houses come through and have high hopes, and I've been, you know, disappointed, but hopefully this is a change. I hope it is a change.
Well, I mean, I tend to go back to the fact that yes, Republicans win the majority every election cycle, but part of that is due to the fact that we have severe gerrymandering.
We do.
When we had a fairly equal district in District 2, Shamari Figures won, the Democrat won. And yes, it had a lot of black voters in it. Alabama has a lot of black voters, so there's nothing wrong with that. But they actually govern like that. No one else matters. When you had 63% of the voters in this last general election where they voted for president, 63% did not vote or either voted for Kamala Harris or a third party. That shows you that not everybody is on that side.
I think everybody's getting really sick of the culture wars. Honestly, I do.
Well, the people that make money off of them, they're not. They're not at all. Josh, and I wonder, you know, I think that, and listen, Senator Gudger's not going to take advice from me, but I would go in there and shake up the leadership in the committees, especially if you look at Arthur Orr, Senator Orr, who runs the Education Trust Fund. He has his own little fiefdom that he's set up where he controls so much money, he can pretty much bend anybody backwards into his will just because he has so much money to give. And I just wonder how much that's going to last,
Yeah, well, obviously I am, I'm for changing out pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
There are a handful of folks that I do like, but no, I think you're right about the way Arthur Orr has handled some stuff. I mean, he caused a ton of problems in terms of getting the overtime tax repeal in the last session. And, I think that what I have a problem with, this is my problem with Orr, is that we're okay with taking $100 million to start from the Education Trust Fund budget to give over to private businesses and let people send their kids, rich people send their kids to elite private schools. And then we're going to just continue to grow that. And it's estimates, $400 or $500 million a year that we're going to be taking out of this at some point. But now the overtime tax, we need to repeal that because, man, that thing is way out of sight. So the working people getting a break on their paycheck is just a step too far for everybody. But this over here, the rich folks getting a break. Oh, well, it's choice, Bill. It's choice, and we got to have choice.
Yeah.
Listen, my last straw with him with this last session was when he decided not to feed children in need during the summer through our program that we do that in our education system in Alabama over trying to get more favor with retired teachers. They get a 10-cent raise one time.
One time.
He didn't want to feed the children believe me, I love our educators and they deserve it, but not at the cost of children going hungry.
I mean, the problem is, and y'all know this, is there's so many people that are scared of Orr, and he's not well liked.
If you take him out of that position, there's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, I mean, one senator can hold up things, but I don't want to pick on Arthur Orr. There's enough people that can do that. But I would like to see, and listen, my opinion, there needs to be some leadership shakeups. I think he left, if left alone, he will not put a very good mark. He will not have he needs his people, his team.
He does.
In those positions. As every leader does.
I agree. He's got to get his team around him, that people he knows that can work together and will work with each other and not against each other to be able to be successful as a leader.
Josh, and I haven't spoken with anybody on Speaker Ledbetter's staff, but it seems like those two guys would probably get along pretty well.
Well, I mean, I think we had a little bit of insight into that last session during the gambling stuff. And Gudger took on the gambling issue in the Senate after it was, became a train wreck. So it's probably not really fair to kind of pin him with all of what happened because he did come in and try to save it. And to his credit, was able to get something on the table that I think most people agreed with. And it fell, a couple votes short before he did that. But I believe in working with the House on that. There was some friction still, but I don't believe it was with Gudger and Ledbetter and the leadership in the House. I think it was more along the lines of those the few handful of folks that were not going to vote for anything, basically, right. No matter what happened. And so, I believe that they have a pretty good relationship. Listen, I've not heard of a soul that doesn't have a good relationship with Garlan Gudger. Okay. I mean, I haven't. I mean, so I think that's probably a pretty good sign of what kind of person he is and what kind of leader he is.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back.
Your home is your most valuable asset. But what if someone tried to steal it from you? Property fraud is one of the fastest growing areas of fraud in the country today.
As a district attorney, I've seen firsthand the devastating effects of property fraud. That's why I'm proud to support the Montgomery County Probate Court's REACT program.
REACT is designed to protect your property and to give you peace of mind. By signing up, you'll receive an email notification if a document is filed against your property.
This program is a game changer. It has the potential to prevent fraud and protect countless homeowners throughout Montgomery County.
So don't wait. Sign up for REACT today and protect your home.
Protect your home with REACT. Sign up today.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Alabama is always in the news about its economic state. Right now, the state's doing pretty good. We're making, the unemployment is super. The state is making some great strides. We're gonna have some shortfalls coming. But one of the things that is facing the entire country is this idea of deporting immigrant labor, people that are here undocumented, people that are here, we say it illegally, who came here to work, and they do work. A little over 5% of the workforce in Alabama is made up of undocumented immigrants. And they pay about $150 million to $174 million a year in taxes, Susan. If you take these people out of the economy, the chicken plants, the construction work, a lot of food service jobs, they're all going to vanish. And right now, Alabama has a terrible workforce participation rate. It will collapse the economy potentially.
Well, they make up 9% of the construction work that goes on in the state alone. Like you said, never mind hospitality and other agricultural jobs that they do. Georgia tried this back in 2011. They had $140 million worth of crops left in the field. This is not a winning strategy here.
And Josh, again, this is all about the others. It has been a campaign issue for the last several cycles, whereas the Chamber of Commerce and business leaders want these workers because they understand that it's not just that they'll work cheap, but they'll work hard, and they become so ingrained in the economy. You can't get a roof in Alabama, basically, without having a Hispanic person do it. And there's other things like that, concrete work, finishing work. You cannot find a white person that's in that business that doesn't employ Hispanic workers or immigrant workers.
No, it's ludicrous. I'll be shocked if any of these, promises to deport these folks actually come to fruition, just simply because it's going to hurt too many of the rich people that donated to Donald Trump. And you saw this a couple of weeks ago. Steve Marshall, our AG, sent out a press release celebrating his participation in another stoppage of the Biden administration's horrible things that they're doing. And this one had to do with allowing folks that come here on the visa work programs, to unionize. Basically, we're going to give them the authority to fight for fair wages and make sure that they're being paid fairly. But buried down in that, you come to the knowledge that these farmers out there were talking about how this simply allowing them to unionize and making this pay come out would crush their business model. So it gives you an idea about how many of these immigrant folks are coming over here to work. And what tends to happen, what most folks don't realize, is the large majority of the illegal immigrants that they love to talk about don't come just flooding across the border like that. They come through the visa programs, and then they overstay those visa programs to continue working illegally at the farms and at the other places who employ them. And these people know full the hell well that they're doing that. Okay? They know that they're illegal. They don't care that they're illegal. They'll help hide them to make sure they keep the cheap labor around. Our economy right now is built on these people, rightly or wrongly. So you want to talk about your price of eggs? Wait till you see the price of lettuce and tomatoes. If you go through this stuff, okay? listen. I think they ought to let the folks unionize and fight for fair wages, because I do believe they should be paid fairly.
What are we going to do about that $145 million hole in the budget that they pay in taxes every year?
Well, we'll just pretend it doesn't exist. I want to get on to another thing just real quick here.
We can repeal the overtime tax.
Well, that'd be good. All the working folks will be appreciating that.
That's right, yeah.
There is a battle that, and I've heard it here in Alabama, there are people who want to have a case go before the Supreme Court challenging the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. There are some people that believe that the 14th Amendment does not include birthright citizenship for the people that come here illegally. Now, this was thought through when they passed the 14th Amendment. They said if you're born on this soil, that's the essence of it. If you're born in this soil, then you are an American. You are a citizen of the United States. But there are people that want to take it away, sort of like they did from the Indians. They took everything away from the Native Americans.
And they were born here before any of the rest of us.
Yeah, right. They didn't even get birthright citizenship.
No. Even though they were born here before the rest of us. I mean, this is a ridiculous argument.
Yeah.
I mean, this all goes into fanning the flames over illegal immigration and all of that stuff, and immigrants having babies here and then being able to stay with them. That's where this is coming from.
I mean, Josh, I looked the other day. John Kennedy was a first-generation American on his father's mother's side, second generation on his mother's side or father's, however that is. And if you look at Donald Trump, he is a second generation American. My family goes back, it's a 12 generation family, came over to Virginia back in the 16, around 1680, 1690. It doesn't make me any more of a citizen than it does the person, this girl who's born yesterday or whatever. And it certainly doesn't make Donald Trump or John Kennedy or Barack Obama, who was another first generation born American. Doesn't make us any different. But these men have prospered tremendously off of coming to America, their parents and grandparents coming to America. And so why shouldn't these people be allowed to prosper?
Well, listen, as somebody who has a little bit of Native American blood, I hope that this passes. I hope the Supreme Court overturns it. I hope that they make it retroactive for everybody. So it's going to free up a lot of room at restaurants for me and a lot of my folks. Okay?
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Because, listen, I mean, y'all get the hell out of here. You ain't got any right to this unless your last name is Running Deer or, along the same line. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are y'all talking about here? Yeah, this is so, I mean, it's so racist and it's so awful. And it's so, it's just unbelievable to sit around and listen to grown people make these arguments about calling people anchor babies and, and all the horrific terminology and all the terrible ways they talk about other human beings who have come here just simply for the American dream that we've held out as an invitation to people to come here and to talk about how great we are.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back.
My personal biggest pet peeve is kids who are not properly restrained, whether that be in a booster seat, a car seat, or even a simple seatbelt. Kids, they become projectiles, and it's terrifying.
It absolutely breaks my heart to know that something so innocent could be punished so severely.
Your children rely on you to be that person that says, no, you need to put your seatbelt on.
Welcome back to The V, the voice of Alabama politics. Josh, you wrote about this week. There's a group that's Clean Up Alabama and these other, concerned moms who really all they want to do is ban books, ban gay people, ban anyone that's LGBTQ. They want to do this. But up in Huntsville, they have gone so far as to take movies, Disney movies like Moana and Frozen, and said that unless you are 16 years old, you can't check them out. Now, Josh, I know you've watched Moana and Frozen at least 1,001 times. Tell me what is so sensationalized about those things that, oh my God, you cannot check it out if you're 16 years old.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I wish some of these people would let it go, but they won't. They refuse to do that, and I can tell y'all have not watched Frozen. Otherwise, that would have landed. I'm pretty sure. But it's a what the deal here is that those movies are rated PG, and so they've moved those PG movies from the all kids section to the young adult section. And when you get into the young adult section, now we have a 3-tiered card system for the library, because this is something that we needed. You can walk in and buy a gun at any point, but the 3-tiered card system at the library, because there's the danger. You got to have parental consent. So your parents have to come up to get you into that second tier of library cards to be able to check out such risque movies as, Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Moana and Frozen. And it's so ludicrous. It's so just beyond, it defies all logic to skip over the problems that we have in being number 1 in STDs, number 2 or 3 in the worst education systems in the country, to having the gun violence that we have among young people, to just the lack of programs that we have to help struggling children in our schools, to skip over all of that and to focus your energy and to get the governor and the leadership of the party with a supermajority to move and act on this stuff. We've got the guy that runs the GOP on the damn library board now because they wanted to make sure that their books weren't falling into the wrong hands of kids in school. It's so stupid. This is why we're dumb. This is why everybody thinks we're stupid. All right? Because we act stupid.
Well, not only are we not educating the children, at the levels we should be, but we're taking these books away from them that create, critical thinking, thinking outside the box, learning about something that's not what is commonplace today. And we wonder why we're so low on the education
Well, you
rates.
hit the nail right on the head with what you just said. There's been a big fight in Prattville over a float. The first float to register in Prattville was the Pride float from Prattville Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's for the Christmas parade, right?
That's for the Christmas parade. I'm sorry, the Christmas parade that's coming up. They signed up, and everything was legal. The Prattville city lawyer said he felt it would be unconstitutional to exclude them from the parade, but they had just a handful of people raising Cain about it, and so they wanted to exclude them from the parade. Well, Mayor Gillespie, who's a spineless little wimp, has now come out and said, oh, well, we were removing them from the parade for safety reasons. That is the biggest bunch of malarkey I have ever heard from a mayor that has no guts.
What I would ask Bill Gillespie, and I know Bill Gillespie, met him several times and talked to him, and I don't dislike him. But what I would ask him, and I hope somebody in the media around there does, is what does this say about your city and the citizens of your city? Prattville. They were welcoming people. This is going to be a great place, the preferred city. That's what they'd like to refer to themselves as. What does it say about them that in a Christmas parade, you're so afraid of the actions of your citizens against a float, that you've had to pull them out for safety concerns? Should the rest of the town be concerned about their safety? Should people stop shopping in Prattville?
Yeah.
Should people stop visiting Prattville because of these safety concerns?
Josh, the way I look at it is that, this is just an excuse, of course.
Of course
But
it is.
many of these people in Prattville that make the biggest noise are part of that Christian coalition out of Montgomery. they live in the bedroom community, Prattville, but they actually practice this far right-wing Christian doctrine politics in Montgomery. And I tell you, you know, one of Jacob Holmes's articles, and one of these about this whole thing about the pride float at the Christmas parade. One guy said, well, God hates fags. And I thought, well, I've read the Bible numerous times. I can never find that. But, you know, they want to live under basically Old Testament law. So I've got a couple of Old Testament laws, like in Leviticus 19:27, it forbids men to trim their beard. So I'm obviously a sinner, and everybody else who trims their beard. But it's not one of the better ones. But you know, you're not supposed to let witches live. So we need to re-crank up the witch hunts. One of my favorite ones here is if anybody curses their parents, they should be put to death. So, Susan, what do we do with this teenage angst and rebellion?
There's going to be a thinning of the population there.
We have to thin them out, right?
Definitely.
All right, then there's a ban in Leviticus 29 that bans you from eating pork. Now, I hate to let Nick and Jim know about it, but I think the Prattville cleanup gang should be coming for them and every barbecue joint in the state.
We got to close them down.
We're shutting them down, baby. There will be no more pork, no more swine for you.
And no more bacon. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. And it forbids tattoos. We need to check everybody at the door, see if they got tattoos. And this is one of my favorites. If a woman grabs another man's private parts while he's in a fight with her husband, her hand gets cut off.
Well, I'm sorry.
And lastly,
my hand's got to go.
Lastly, my favorite one is Leviticus 20:10 that says all adulterers must be put to death. I think we can put a list together. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, you know, there's a fantastic episode of The West Wing.
Yes, sir.
In which the fake president goes in on these exact sort of things. It talks about the hypocrisy of it all, and this it's exactly right. They've used the Bible. They've used a teaching of love and acceptance for everybody to excuse away their hate and intolerance and the way that they treat other human beings, because they believe they are religiously right about these things. And so therefore they have carte blanche to do whatever they want to do and act however they want to act. And they're going to go home at the end of the night and pretend to be heroes, when in reality, they're just awful human beings.
Yep.
Right. And speaking of Jacob Holmes, he and his wife, Maddie, are staging their own protest at the parade with signs that say, "Love thy neighbor."
Well, good for them. Well, here we welcome everyone because we believe in love, and we want to wish you and your family a very happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. We don't care if you're gay, straight, green, or blue. As long as you are a human being, we're going to try to love you. All right, that's all from us. You've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.